We hear about it in baseball all the time. This team needs clutch hitting. That player is clutch in the playoffs. But does clutch really exist? Let's look at a few of the players that are typically referred to as clutch players and see what we can find out. A large part of what people talk about when David Ortiz's name is mentioned is how clutch he was in the postseason. He was the 2004 ALCS MVP and the 2013 World Series MVP. I was curious to know how his overall postseason numbers looked compared to his regular season ones. His postseason batting average, on base, and slugging are all pretty comparable to his regular season numbers. His home runs per 162 games in the postseason is 32 and 116 RBIs, which is well within the normal range of his seasons. His career postseason OPS of 947 is just slightly above the 930 he posted in the regular season. Granted, he made the most of his World Series appearances, hitting .455 in 14 games. But he was also pretty bad in some series in the playoffs. 7 of his 18 postseason rounds he hit under .250, with 5 of those being under .200. Before winning the 2013 World Series MVP, he went 2 for 22 in the ALCS. All of his production in that entire series came from his game-tying grand slam in Game 2. And yes, that one singular moment was huge and it definitely changed that series, I'm not arguing that. But aside from that one hit, he was basically non-existent in that series. If the bases weren't loaded, or if it was a 3-run home run instead of a grand slam, would we even still be talking about it anymore? Moreover, it was the 4th series out of his last 5 where he'd hit under .250, and in 5 of his last 7 career postseason appearances, Ortiz would finish a playoff round with a batting average under .250. If being clutch exists, it's unfair to focus only on the World Series and not the other playoff rounds. Ortiz went 4 for 26 in Boston's 2008 ALCS loss to Tampa Bay, and 1 for 12 in 2009 in the ALDS loss to the Los Angeles Angels. In 2009's loss to Tampa Bay, Ortiz went 0 for 3 in Game 7 with a walk and 2 strikeouts. Not the kind of elimination game you'd expect from someone who is supposedly clutch. In Game 3 of 2009's loss to the Angels, Ortiz went 1 for 4, going 0 for 11 in the series until his final at-bat in the 8th inning of Game 3 when he hit a single. Next, Mr. November. When we look at his career playoff numbers, again we see pretty similar numbers between the regular season and the off-season. Again, if we break things down by playoff round, his average is a bit higher in the ALDS and the World Series, but it's noticeably lower in the ALCS. If clutch exists and is not just randomness, you'd have to call Jeter a playoff choker in the ALCS, but I don't think that's the case. In the 2001 World Series, Jeter hit just 148 with 1 very timely home run and RBI, and somehow is given the nickname Mr. November for it. He went 4 for 27 with 0 walks and a hit by pitch in the series. Additionally, Jeter had 11 playoff series where his batting average was .250 or under. That's 60 points below his career average. When we look at the playoff series where Jeter hit 60 points higher than average, he did that 10 times. So, Jeter was basically as likely to play worse than average as he was likely to play above average. Again, my purpose here isn't to say that Jeter isn't clutch or is a playoff choker. My point is that when you get big enough data sets, what appears to be clutch actually tends to revert to the mean. That's just how things go in a small sample for any player. Last up, and to me the most interesting case, is Mariano Rivera. The comparison between his postseason and regular season numbers are flat out astounding. 2 earned runs in 56 ALDS innings, a 0.70 ERA in 141 postseason innings. Despite these absolutely incredible numbers, one of Rivera's 4 career blown saves in the postseason was in Game 7 with a 1-run lead. If clutch were some kind of gear that the best players can simply summon when the game is at its biggest, there's no way Rivera would have lost that game to the Arizona Diamondbacks. I picked these 3 players because they've always been known as being very clutch in the playoffs, and also because they've played a lot of postseason games, which is when the numbers start to even out. What do you guys think? Are there any players you can think of who played lights out in the playoffs, but were only decent in the regular season? Let me know in the comments.